Hello, everybody. It is Johanna turning up the volume here. It is Sunday, the 31st, the last day of July. And yeah, we are here. I just got out of the shower. We're here for the weekly forecast for Orbital Astrology. I am the resident astrologer. Hey, Jen. I'm the resident astrologer at Resonant Essentials, which is a local metaphysical shop here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So if you are in around the Northeast Heights of Albuquerque, you should definitely stop on by. We are open, I think, Tuesday through Saturdays with a psychic fair once a month on Sundays. So yeah, you should check their website, resonantessentials.com, to check out all of the programming that we have, classes, tarot circle, spirit circle. We have an astrology group once a month. So a lot of awesome stuff. And of course, all of our practitioners who work there who are open for readings or healings. So anyway, yeah, little little advertisement there at the beginning, because really this is a big week, right? This is even if you are not into astrology or are very sort of like aware of the peripherals of astrology, you probably have heard about the big bad alignment of this upcoming week. It's kind of the one that everyone's been looking at for as far as the biggest exciting or turning point of 2022. There are actually a lot of amazing things that have happened this year that are good, with Jupiter going through Pisces. I mean, that was a big shift. But as far as what every astrologer had their eye on is like being a sort of like a whoa type transit this year is the Uranus Mars North Node conjunction, which is technically happening tomorrow. Now, Uranus is a very, very slow moving planet. The nodes move every 18 months through the signs. Mars is a much faster moving planet. So, it's kind of been building slowly to this point. So you may have already sort of feeling like this push or this anticipation towards something really big shifting. Hey, Michelle. So this may be something like you're already aware of, and that the big event that's happening tomorrow is sort of in the peripherals of your energy fields or whatever you're feeling, if you're sensitive or intuitive, or if you do have if you are in the metaphysical world where you have psychic abilities, you probably have already sort of noticing this. I mean, there may have been events in your life that have sort of already started shocking you a little bit. That's really the key word about Uranus. Uranus is the disruptor of astrology. If you watched the Changing of the Gods documentary that came out earlier this year, then you would have seen that. You would have seen how Uranus is responsible for a lot of big changes in human history. So, we're having Uranus come into the front, into the spotlight again this week. And it's always kind of been there through 2021. It was the big story with this square between Uranus and Saturn. And we are still kind of dealing with the same energy. Now, the big event with Mars has been running through all the signs. It's a much faster moving planet. So the fact that Mars is coming into this mix means that there's going to be an intensification of all of the Saturn and all of the Uranus that we've been dealing with for the past, year, 18 months. And it is really this pivotal moment because Saturn is starting to leave Aquarius. Yeah, indeed. Michelle, and I have both had really big events that have happened the past week, and I think Jen, you have too. And just sort of noticed like almost kind of like a reckoning or something like major shift or something, just like, wow, I didn't see that coming, or oh wow, like the final straw sort of type energy, that the needle that broke the haystack, or something that just had to give. Something had to give. So that's really the energy of this alignment that's coming up to the exact position on Monday, which is going to be happening, I think, at 18 degrees Taurus. So wherever you have 18 degrees Taurus, you can look and see where that house is in your chart, and to see like what area of your life that this is really going to be happening for you. So what can I say about Mars? Mars is really the catalyst in this situation because, the nodes and Uranus have kind of been hanging out together all year. And if you think back to the spring when we had the eclipses in Uranus and Taurus, or in Scorpio and Taurus, you can think about that sort of volatile energy of what happened to you, what stories were coming into your life, what big realizations were really showing up. And like, what was the point of no return for you? Because that's really what eclipses are about, is an opening of a door or a portal, or closing of a door or a portal. Really, it's a choice, a decision that you're supposed to make, or something that's coming into your life that forces you into one direction or the other. So it's very disruptive. It's very, I mean, this is why eclipses have been in astrology known. My thing is like all weird. Okay. This is why eclipses in astrology have really, since the beginning of time, since people started noticing that the stars were actually moving across the sky, they weren't just stationary. Um, that the sun and the moon, when they were, oh no, sorry, my notification, I forgot to turn my notifications off, so I get like, I just got dinged. Okay, so sun and the moon, when they were disrupted, when they were covered by a shadow, that was an incredibly disruptive and scary event for the ancients. And that's why the eclipses have always been associated with kind of scary events or huge events that make you have to make a decision, or sometimes it can just be internally or spiritually sort of a reckoning or a decision or a choice, or like a fork in the road almost. Now, some people have reported that the eclipses haven't been really disruptive for them this year, and that's great. So, if you don't have a lot of Taurus and Leo, Aquarius, fixed signs in your chart, Scorpio as well, then this may not have been a huge, this may not have been as disruptive for you as, as the people who have those major prominently in your chart. So your sun, your moon, your rising sign, if those have any, or any other big planetary positions in those fixed signs, then you're probably feeling this a lot more intensely than, people who have like Capricorn or, cardinal signs. The cardinal signs and the mutable signs are kind of getting a break this year. It's really the fixed signs that are getting sort of, messed with. So anyway, when Mars is coming through Taurus, it's been sort of, ever since it got out of Aries, which is one of its favorite signs, and it's sort of like it's just forcing its way through Taurus because it hates being in Taurus, does not want to be there. Mars is kind of like, Mars wants to go fast, but Taurus is really slow. Taurus wants things to be easy and relaxed. And it has two extreme, well, I guess three when you count the North Node, three really pushy, change-making, disruptive, aggressive, sort of maybe negative planets or positions into the sky. Now, yeah, good news that Mars is going to be moving out of Taurus very soon. So we don't. This is really kind of like the last hurrah for Mars. I mean, it's kind of making its point. Like, it's pissed off that it's been in Taurus this long. It doesn't want to be there. So now it's meeting up with like a helper, right? So Uranus is sitting there, like, kind of just twiddling its fingers, waiting for Mars to come in to knock on its door and to give it that, yeah, so people who are like, oh my God, when is Mars going to get out of Taurus? It's coming very soon. And honestly, we're going to be dealing with a huge extended transit of Mars through Gemini, because Mars is going to go retrograde in Gemini later this year. Oh, I think into next year. So yeah, that's a whole nother story. But yes, Mars is very quickly moving through Taurus. It's at 18, so it's, in the latter half of Taurus at this point. And yeah, so it's coming up to this point with Uranus. It's like, think of like, I don't know, a race car slogging through the mud. Race cars want to go fast, but it's just being impeded by this earthy slowness. And so it gets to this point where it gets a shot of a gasoline or a shot of adrenaline, or, you see, or you can like come into this really disruptive part of the race, like where there's a patch of clear pavement where that you just can like finally get some traction and go, 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 go. And I'm using race car analogy because my fiance is a race car driver. But anyway, if that's not your analogy, don't worry. You can think of any sort of analogy where, you're feeling frustrated. Like the person who wants to do damage is frustrated by that, or the person who wants to create disruption or create some sort of action is feeling like they can't do that. But Uranus is just waiting for it to give it that excuse to make something big happen. And Uranus being in Taurus as well is not very happy either. Uranus wants to, be unpredictable and like, make things sort of like flashy. I mean, lightning strikes are related to Uranus, genius, innovation, all of these ideas, they're related to Uranus. And when Uranus is in a very slow, easygoing sign like Taurus, once again, it's a lot like Mars. It doesn't get what it needs. It really wants to be free of all of the constraints of Earth. But it's really kind of stuck there. So these two planets are getting together on Monday, um, and of course the North Node there. So we're having a lot of like weird stories coming back from the eclipse season that happened in the spring, and all of that getting triggered by this. Yeah, like the gunpowder meets the gasoline, or the the explosive meets the igniter. um that's the type of those two things are finally going to be in the same area where something explosive may happen. Now, I'm not trying to scare people, because there's a lot of like about like a lot of freaking out about what's happening this week. And there's a lot of us who are having to have difficult situations come up and deal with difficult things. So I don't want you to be like, oh my god, I need to go hide, under a table, or I need to go like, I can't function. I'm gonna go have a panic attack. I don't want that to be the vibe right now. I want people to feel like, look, we just have this new moon in Leo where we can actually think about approaching things with heart, and the openness instead of fear and anxiety. And I know that that's kind of like Pollyanna-ish. I whatever you want to say, like, just think positive or just think optimistically. No, there is something to say about approaching a situation in an open-hearted, relaxed way versus approaching a situation in a fear, anxiety, closed off, ready to fight type way. So you can choose whichever way you want to approach the situation. I just think that since we've had this really lovely Leo new moon, um, it had its own struggles, but really that energy of the sun is going to be infusing us with that ability to shine the light from our heart. So yeah, taking the week off, clearing my desk off. Yeah, I mean, if you would have the ability to just sort of sit back and gather yourself, then that's a great time to do it this week. I mean, I'm canceling a few things just because if they're not necessary, you don't have to do. If you don't have to go on, whatever thing this week, don't force it. If there are important things you have to do this week, then this may be sort of like catalyst for that movement. Like, if you need to move forward on specific things this week, this point tomorrow is, just that energy to get things unstuck. I mean, it's really that, you know, big, um, that that big event that just dislodges things that you need to have. If you feel like you've been stuck this whole year, this is the event that will probably move you forward in whatever area that you need to move forward in. Um, because even though Uranus is still going to be in Taurus for a little while longer. The North Node is slowly moving out of Taurus. It's going to move into Aries, and the South Node will move into Libra next year. Mars will be out of Taurus, so it's kind of like this final last hurrah of all of the stuff that we've been dealing with this year. After Monday, things aren't going to be the same. I mean, it's going to be a major shift. And how that plays out in our country and our culture and the macrocosm is maybe very differently from how it's going to play out in your own life. So definitely look into your own personal chart to get more information about how you think this is going to come up for you. um, you know I'm trying to find the right words to give people some sort of comfort or hope as you approach this week, because it isn't just like everything in astrology. It's not the end of the line. It's a cycle. Everything repeats itself. Everything keeps moving. Nothing's permanent. So whatever happens tomorrow, maybe it's not going to be a big deal for you. I hope that it doesn't play out on something terrible. I think that some people may get through this pretty unscathed. Some people just may have a major reckoning coming to their lives, and they need to confront that and move forward. And one thing about this week is we are having this beautiful, and this is happening right now. Actually, it happens in about an hour. Jupiter is actually in a trine aspect with the sun, and this was affecting that lunation with Leo, the Leo new moon. But really, today is the exact position. So we have this wonderful energy today on the 31st of this trine, which means that the sun is really benefiting from Jupiter. Jupiter is in Aries and the sun is in Leo, so they're both in fire signs. It's a really lovely, sort of inspiring and um, really sort of, yeah, like it's going to give you that boost that you need. And maybe that's why I feel kind of like we're going to get through this. We're going to like be able to, conquer whatever challenge is coming towards us in this next week. I really feel, and I actually have this aspect in my own natal chart. I have a sun trine Jupiter. So maybe that's why I'm like really feeling it. And I hope that you guys are feeling it too. A lot of astrologers out there are like, this is this would be a great aspect if it wasn't so like overshadowed by this really scary one that's coming up. But really, it's a great way to expand on what is feeding your soul, what really is telling you, what inspires you, what is getting you, what does your inner self really want to do, what is really feeding your direction in life or your purpose in life. That's what the sun is all about. It's about your identity and who you want to be. And Jupiter is really supportive in that, and Jupiter expands and grows and makes everything abundant that it touches. So yeah, it's a really wonderful day to think about yourself, what your purpose is, what do you want to do, where do you want to go in the future, and you know, with the knowledge that tomorrow is going to bring major changes and a catalyst for change. Um, know that you're going to be yourself cannot be defeated. Sort of that sort of energy, because you have this ability to sort of prepare for it today and bolster your own the sense of strength and courage, all of that. I mean, that's a really great relationship, especially because both of these planets, the sun and Jupiter, are in fire signs right now. So really think about what gets you fired up in a good way, and how can you use that fire to really persevere, have courage, face things with an open heart as the things come this next week. So one other thing that happens this week is after Mars goes through its goes through its major alignment with Uranus this week, Venus is actually going to come into alignment as well. Venus is right there in, I think it's at 18 degrees of Cancer. Let me just double check. Venus is still there hanging out in Cancer. It's at 16 degrees right now, but it will be coming into alignment with Uranus, the North Node, and Mars in this upcoming week. So really, Mars is the first one to get its kicks with Uranus, and Venus comes in right afterwards. So not a lot of astrologers are talking about this, but this could actually be, a comforting aspect or a sweetening aspect right after the big explosive aspect, like the the calming down, the after effects, the thinking about what happened, and sort of holding each other and comforting and finding hope in relationships, and being there for each other. Because Venus is going to have the same conversations. She's just going to have them in a more supportive and gentle way that Mars is going to have. So yeah, what huge change comes through your life tomorrow? What big thing is going to be showing up? And how can we move through that through as the week goes through, like Tuesday and Wednesday? I think Wednesday is actually a pretty calm day, so there may be sort of a day of, I don't want to say a day of silence, but a day of digesting, like thinking, and where the planets aren't totally active. There might just be sort of this quiet that happens, and I'm hoping that we get a little bit of quiet after such an explosive transit this week. Let me just give you guys the moons before we get out of here. The moons are, moon today is in Scorpio. No, not Scorpio. The moon is in Virgo right now. It is going to move tomorrow into Libra. We'll stay there all the way until Thursday, when it goes into Scorpio. So Thursday, August 4th. And then next Saturday, the moon will go into Sagittarius. So whatever area of your chart, that's where the moon is going to be moving through. And yeah. So next Sunday I shall be back with with the report. We'll see how everybody does this next week, and I will see you as you come into the end of the week. I do not have my my journal with me today, because I am getting a new one. So I have to get a nice clean astrology planner for the transits as we come up to the next week. So I hope you all have a wonderful rest of Sunday, and just hold tight, and we will get through this next week. So I hope you are all doing great, and I will see you on Sunday next week. Bye.